Hello, everyone. Um, Yesterday I got an unusual message in my email inbox, and this was from Peru, um, and it was from Carlos, who has just gotten out of Warhammer and is moving into bold action. Hola, Carlos. Um, and welcome to the bold action environment. Um, Most of us have moved from Games Workshop's games and um, into bold action, and there's a lot of recognizable stuff for us. Everything is based on the D6. Everything is just there's a lot of things that I feel like we recognize in the game of bold action. The interplay of one model being important, 28 millimeter, all that scale. And so for me, that transition from I was playing for Warhammer 40k, that transition was very, very easy, especially because I had sort of fallen out of love with 40k. So welcome to the game. It is an awesome game. And the reason why I say it was a surprising message was because I had no idea that bold action was played in South America. No idea. I think when you're sitting in Europe, as I do, I think that a lot of your vision is sort of blocked by the rather large groups of players that are in the UK and in Spain and in Central Europe. So you sort of lose focus on the rest of the world, I guess. But it's really amazing to hear that you guys are enjoying the game as well. So Carlos sent me a list for me to review, and let's go and see what he's bringing. This is a beginning, it's like his first beginner list, and it is also at 500 points, because I guess Carlos is starting out building a force, which that seems very reasonable. Build a 500 point force, and then you can go to 750 and then to 1,000 points and beyond at some point. So this is Carlos's list. It is 499 points, 11 order dice. Now for me, that order dice count is very, very high. At 500 points, 11 order dice? Wow, that's very, very good. You're going to find that when you have the draw of the dice from a bag, that your 11 order dice is going to give you good odds of having the order dice when you want it. Most other lists at 500 points, I think, are going to be lower, unless your local meta is very different from what we see. It's a French reinforced platoon, and we have a second lieutenant, inexperienced, with 2 extra men. I'm seeing this especially maybe in the Spanish meta, where people do this, and they do it because that will mean that your lieutenant is no longer vulnerable to being killed by a preparatory bombardment. And at the same time, the lieutenant becomes a small infantry unit, and you get the free SMGs. All of that is pretty good. Of course, you lose small team, but I think it's worth it, actually. Then we have a single unit of Groupe Frank, SES and GIA. They are the French Special Forces infantry. They're veterans. They have 4 submachine guns and 3 riflemen. So a 7-man unit. This is a good push size unit, what I would call an assault unit or a push unit. They can push up and get close to the enemy and be fairly safe and deliver a lot of pain to the enemy. Because they have this many SMGs, they sometimes would enjoy being transported. So in a truck, for instance, but you don't need it. Then we have inexperienced infantry, and oh yeah, he's bringing quite a lot of inexperienced infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4 units of inexperienced infantry. One of the inexperienced infantry is a free infantry unit. So we have 2 of the units have a pistol armed man, the rest are just riflemen. These units, 8-man units, inexperienced, they're not very good, but they have a good amount of bodies. You can use these as sort of skirmish infantry. They're not going to be very good at it, but you can skirmish a bit with them, or you can use them as backline holders. My suggestion is, if you want to use them as backline holders, you could go down in size. 5-man units are good enough for backline holders. So that is my one like thought, that you might save a few points here and maybe use them for something else. Then there's a medium artillery and a free medium artillery as well. So double free units here. These howitzers are really good. Double free units, especially in low point games, that is extremely powerful, because that's a lot of extra free points in your list. So really, your list is closer to 600 points than it is to 500 points, right? And then early war motorcycle with sidecar and machine gun. These are really, really good, and they are very, very cheap. They have a forward-facing LMG, recce, turn on the spot, and there are 3 of them, which is really, really strong. So that is how he gets so many units into his army list. Now, one thing I will say, Carlos, is your army list is very, very open to if the enemy brings a tank. So, for instance, if the enemy is nasty enough to find the points for a Dhaka Steward, which is the Steward with the sponsored LMGs, which is the current like top of the meta tank, right? If he finds the points for that, and it's only about 140 points, you're gonna be in deep trouble, because this list has no anti-tank capability. What it does have is 2 medium howitzers, which has a +3 penetration, but that is not good enough to take on a Steward. That Steward is going to sit there and just mow you down. So, but if you're not facing enemy armor, and you armor, I mean 8+, you're not going to see many 7+, and you're not going to see any 9+, not at 500 points. If you're not going to be facing enemy armor, you're perfectly fine. This list will run through most enemy lists. This is sort of a horde list at 500 points. A horde list with artillery backing, but if you do face armor, you're going to be in trouble. So that was my list review. Thank you so much for the list, Carlos, and good luck. Cheers.